And welcome to Access Sports Live here on the AccessWDUN.com. Bo Wilson alongside Jeff Hart as we bring you another broadcast here via our social distancing policies. Trent Mongero joins us today here on the show. And, Coach, welcome into the show, and glad we could get you on here to talk a little baseball.
Looking forward to it, Bo, Jeff. Thanks, guys.
Well, Coach, we were talking before we went on the air. Let's talk about your life in St. Simons right now.
Well, I'm not getting to enjoy the weather, but we're locked up inside, and just like most of the country, it's a serious deal. But outside, it's been very, very hot, creeping up towards 90 degrees, and certainly beach weather. But right now it's indoors and on the computer with you guys.
Well, now we just lost our entire audience because they're upset that somebody has good weather somewhere while we're cold up here. Way to go, Bo. Way to go.
I just want to check in with the weather at St. Simons,
That's it.
Okay.
It's not too bad outside here today, Jeff. It's okay. It's a little breezy.
No, it's not. I did have to wear my sweatshirt to go to Walmart, though. There you go.
Yeah, true. Well, I'm sure North Hall fans will be happy to see you here on the show with us. Former North Hall Trojans coach led them to the state championship back in 2017. Coach, we're at a crossroad here with sports being canceled here in the state of Georgia, high schools, well, all sports. What have you been doing since the sports have been stopped and now obviously canceled throughout the rest of the year?
Well, that's a loaded question, but basically a couple things. One, I was having some health difficulties, so I've been really focusing on that. I thought I was going to have heart surgery, but fortunately that's been pushed off for a couple of years. I got a valve issue going on, so we've been dealing with that, a lot of tests and that. But once I realized I was good to go, they've given me the clear to start working out again. So. Been trying to use that time. Plus, we have to do at-home learning with Glynn Academy. We are not a private school, but with that academy that throws people for a loop. But we are having to do the at-home learning. So I have to be available all day long for students to interact with them. And then been doing some stuff on the side with infield play with Nate Trotsky, trying to create some content that can help families train at home, literally in their house, to keep their skill levels up and, get them off the couch, get them off the video games, and get them actually working on maybe bettering themselves as baseball players.
Coach, y'all were ranked number 1, I believe. Is that what you were telling me, in Class 6A, and we're off to a hot start. And so that's got to hurt a little bit that, here's a group that I'm guessing was state title contender for sure, and the whole season just snuffed out.
Yeah, as for most coaches, we're heartbroken, especially for our seniors. It's almost impossible to put into words. I just can't even imagine being a player myself, my senior year of high school, and just having the carpet ripped out from under you. Certainly, we were off to a great start, and we were really looking forward to seeing how it would all unfold. There was a lot of work left to do. In no way, shape, or form were people conceding us the state championship. But, we were certainly showing signs of a team that was on the right track. And, we did have the number 1 ranking. And that's a nice honor. But even when we were at North Hall, as you remember, we were ranked number 1 most of the year. And, there was going to be some adversity to come up along the way that we were going to have to overcome. We didn't realize it was going to be this adversity where the whole season was going to be taken away from us. But
speaking of North Hall, they were ranked number 1 as well. And I know that you still know a lot of the players, and of course Coach Flo and the rest of the staff are under you. I don't know if you got a chance to see them at all, but you had guys like Jackson was on the hill, and since I hadn't seen them in a month, now I'm blanking on a lot of the names. Sorry, North Hall, but are you surprised at the success level that that group has continued to maintain?
Not at all. Not at all surprised. We saw so much potential in those guys when they were in the 8th grade, and 8th and 9th grade, and Flo and that staff does a tremendous job. Just really, really proud of North Hall. I mean, I invested 1/5 of my entire lifespan to that program. So, to see Flo take over and keep it going. And of course, the facilities are off the charts. So really, really proud of what the team and the coaches are doing. I keep up with them regularly and pull very, very hard for, the green and black and white for sure.
Well, when are we going to see a North Hall Glynn Academy matchup, a 3-game series somewhere?
It came close last year. North Hall was down for baseball at the beach, which is a big thing that we have down here early in the spring. Teams come down from the north. Of course, Gainesville's been down here. North Forsyth has been down here. Many others. And so North Hall came last year and got to practice on our field, got to hit in our facility. And, it was like I was able to welcome all those families and players and coaches back in. We didn't play each other. I just felt like it was too soon. It's really uncomfortable for me to play against North Hall just because it just doesn't feel right. But we were able to, support one another right there. They played the game before us, so it was pretty surreal. They weren't down here this year, but, I keep up with them literally game by game. And Flo and I talk once, twice a week sometimes, just sharing ideas. And, he's a dear, dear friend. And, like I say, just, my heart, still got a bunch of green in it, that's for sure. And it'll never go away.
Well, Coach, you are an assistant scout with the Boston Red Sox organization as well. And you've scouted for the Braves a few years ago. With this shortened season, do you feel like this is going to affect maybe some of the players that perhaps were, late draft picks?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt. The ramifications of what's going on, unprecedented. The draft, they don't even know exactly, when it's going to be yet. They're talking 5 rounds. There's no doubt that there's going to be numerous players that are impacted by the way this is going down right now.
What do you look for? I know we can't get into too many specifics with too many players, but what do you look for as a scout? I know we can use one player as an example. Reese Olson, one of your former players at North Hall, last year, or I guess 2 years ago, got drafted, by the Brewers. And,
right.
What is it that scouts look for, saying a guy like that? I did a story on him last week. He's up to, throwing 96, 97 consistently. He's got 4 pitches. As a scout, what's the key element when you look at these high school kids, whether they are draft potential?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it, but if you want to simplify it, it really boils down to tools, physical tools, and projectability. Meaning, when you rate a baseball player, you're rating them on a 20-80 scale. So, 80 would be like Hall of Fame status at the major league level, 50's average, so you're looking for guys that, are going to be able to get drafted, come in and compete and have a chance to play in the major leagues. You don't want guys that are just good enough to play at the low levels of minor leagues. You want a guy that can play in the major leagues. So for Reese, his tool is his pitch tool, his arm tool, his throw tool. And, he has tremendous arm strength, and his projectability is fantastic because, he has the body and the frame to put on weight. He was young, so he can get into the minor leagues and really grow and learn himself and learn the game even more than he already does. And, his future is extremely bright. So he's a great example. So, the other part of it, besides the physical tools, is the mental makeup. We call that the 6th tool. And, that's really your toughness, how you compete, your character. It's all boiled into this 6th tool we call, your makeup. So when you have a tool like he has in his throw tool, you have makeup, you have projectability, that's a prospect, and those guys get paid.
Well, Coach,
there's another guy. I'm sorry, Bo. Go ahead.
I was going to, because we were talking about shortening the Major League Draft and eliminating some minor league teams. Your thoughts on the changes there of the minor league system as a high school coach and how that might affect some of the kids' options and decisions?
It's disheartening to a lot of people because baseball is one of the hardest sports to project success. That's why, in the NFL, when they draft players, they go pretty much straight to the NFL. I mean, I know they have some different things going on now, but that's pretty much the case. And then basketball is the same thing. Baseball, we have this minor league system, and on average, it takes players 5 years to make it to the big leagues. So, the minor leagues are a big part of it, and you have guys sometimes that are drafted really late. 30th round guys that have become everyday major league players. And you got first round guys that, 3-4 years, they're out, they don't make it. So when you start shrinking the minor leagues, you're talking about a lot of people that are being impacted and a lot of opportunities that are being taken away. So you shrink, like this year, they were talking about not having the draft at all. And, that would have been extremely horrible. I mean, the ramifications on that through college, all the way down to high school seniors that are trying to play in college. I mean, it's just a huge domino effect. So, this is unprecedented times, with the health crisis that we're in right now, and it's unprecedented from a baseball standpoint. So there's a lot of lives that are going to be impacted, whether it be minor league players that get released after this year because there's no room for them anymore, or guys not even getting drafted at all because the draft is so short. And, looking ahead, minor league baseball, Major League Baseball knows that these opportunities are going to be taken away next year. There's just so many unknowns right now.
Something that we talked about the other day when we were trying to set this up, I guess you could look at it as some sort of a silver lining. When you mentioned college, that had been a criticism over the years that college baseball, the skill level had kind of declined because all the good players were going directly into the minor leagues. How will that affect college baseball and the quality of play?
Well, college baseball in general over 10 years has really been on the rise. And the main reason for that is the development that has been taking place at the collegiate level is now respected. So a lot of players are able to jump right out of college baseball and move up very fast through the minor league ranks. And so it's really been more of a draw to say, okay, you can come to college and you can, develop in our system, and you're going to be worth even more, and you're going to be able to advance even faster. So that's been happening, to a degree. But now you got a scenario where it might be the best college baseball in the history of college baseball, because you're talking about seniors can come back. Okay, so the NCAA has given everybody their year back, including the seniors. So your better seniors that don't get drafted in the first 5 rounds are going to be very tempted to return. So now you got, 24-year-olds, 25-year-olds in some cases, still very good players that would have been drafted, still playing. You got juniors that maybe would have got drafted that are now going to still be back. And now you got the best, rising freshmen in the country, your best high school picks that if they're not in the top 5 rounds, they're not going to take that $20,000 free agent, deal. Well, they're going to say no to that, and they're going to go to college. So there's going to be a logjam of significant talent at the collegiate level, and it's going to be amazing if we can get this virus thing cleared up and, the college seasons take place next year, which we're all optimistic for, of course. It's going to be like crazy good baseball at the collegiate level.
Well, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, Coach, I know you see a lot of players, and I know we can't talk on specific players, but we can talk about, we always talk about, I know back in high school basketball season, it was like the consensus was basketball was down a little bit. And I know we didn't get many baseball games in, but baseball. and the crop of talent that's out there this year. How strong is baseball in the state of Georgia?
It is tremendously strong in our state. It is some of the best baseball played in the entire country. And, year in, year out, there's going to be slight ebb and flow into the talent pool. Pitching is a premier thing right now. It's just uncanny how many players are throwing in the low 90s. Like 15 years ago, if somebody's throwing in the low 90s and they have, good body, they have some makeup, they're a top pick. Now you might be throwing in the low 90s. You don't even get picked at all, even in a normal draft when there's 30 rounds. So it's literally that common now. So where Reese is at, 96, 97. Now that's a plus. That's plus. Velo, that's really special. And it's a great state. Baseball is huge. North Georgia, South Georgia, we don't get as much respect down here, but it's really a statewide thing, and I'm proud to be a high school baseball coach in our state. That's for sure.
You mentioned. I've always thought baseball. I don't know that it might be better than football in overall talent. It could be. You just don't get that picture a lot because of the way the NFL and the college goes. In Northeast Georgia this year, I know you don't get to see all the teams. You're not up here. I don't know that there's a Micah Owings up here this year. But any idea on anybody that, maybe is somebody to look out for, in the future? Are you able to comment on that?
Yeah, my role in my scouting duties is different. I'm a guy that's used by, say, Brian Moeller, who is our area scout for the Red Sox for the state of Georgia. He asked me to take a look at certain players and stuff when we're playing against them. I have a full-time job that's teaching and coaching. But he also knows that he can trust my opinion. So I have a really limited window, and I'm so tied into my own high school team and what we're doing. It's really difficult. Just think about how big our state is. And even though I'm tied in, I have connections to North Georgia, I still don't have enough connections anymore to really know who the best talent is in that area. Now, sometimes when we get near the draft, I talk to Brian and I'll say, how are things looking? Who you really want to put in? Who you want to, who we're going to go after? Because just because he goes after somebody doesn't mean that we're going to get him, that the Red Sox are going to get him. Somebody else might draft him. We also got other scouts, of course, throughout the entire country. You have cross-checkers, you have area cross-checkers, national cross-checkers, and they're all trying to formulate who's the best pick, for the Red Sox in that round. So, but I will talk to Brian and usually get a feel for who in our state, he really, really likes the most. But so I'm not trying to skirt your question, but I really don't know, the guys to that extent, who the pure draft pick guys are, who has a shot to go in the first 5 rounds right here, because, that's ridiculously small pool of players when you talk about the top 5 rounds in the entire country. I mean, that's a very small window. So if there's anybody in North Georgia that's squeezing in that, you should really be knowing about them. I mean, they're a guy that's absolutely like a Micah Owings, really. I mean, that's what it's going to take to be a top 5 round pick this year.
All right, Coach. So obviously, it's already affected the high school season. So the travel ball season, and I want to get your opinion on travel ball. And you being a coach, I've talked to some softball coaches that say that it's necessary for their girls to play travel ball. Do you feel kind of the same way with your players that perhaps they should be playing travel ball, and travel ball probably will be affected by the virus as well if this continues on? But your opinions on travel ball?
How much time do we have for this? Holy cow. All right. So basically, my summary on travel ball is this. It's a necessary evil. It's, you got to play. You got to compete. In our state alone, there's more, for example, that was huge at one point, American Legion. There are states that's still going strong. Our state, it's like non-existent. So your only option in the summer is to play what we call showcase baseball. When you get to high school, it's not really travel anymore, although you are traveling. It's the terminology is showcase. So what they're trying to do is get exposure. They're trying to get out there and be seen. And the best way, obviously, is to go where the scouts are. And the scouts like to be in one centralized location where they can see a lot of people at one time. That's how all these big events have come about. In the process, there's no governing body. There's nobody to keep it in check. And it's really just the wild, wild west, you know, and it's scary at times. There's a lot of money that's being thrown around to get on teams and do certain things, and but it's like a necessary evil. I mean, it's now our guys, even at North Hall, I think Trevor's pretty much kept this model. We try to keep our younger players together, even our older players to a degree together, because we can go play as a team in some of these tournaments. So not only is it making our high school team better, but we're getting to really coach the guys up. And that's my biggest pet peeve with travel ball, showcase ball, is they're not practicing. They're not really being taught the finer points of the game. Bunt defenses, first and thirds, rundowns, pickoffs, cutoff relays, you know, the real game. And they're just going and playing. So, you know, that within itself, the best players are they're gonna make adjustments. The best athletes are gonna find a way. And the lesser players, you know, maybe they get an opportunity, maybe they don't. But, you know, you've got to practice in this game. You've got to refine your skills. And that's not taking place nearly enough in the travel ball setting. And even at the younger ages now, it's how many games they're playing. It's not about practicing. And I've seen a decline in overall ability. You know, I'm 28 years in now. And, you know, we have to do a lot more, you know, breaking kids down and building them back up at the high school level than we ever did, you know, 20 years ago. So to me, the skill sets are decreasing, the flaws are existing, and people aren't, they're just, you know, they're going and playing. And so it is what it is, but it's, I wish there was another way to go about it. I'm not sure that there is.
Well, Coach, you know, we mentioned at the top of this that you were part of the Braves organization. You were drafted 1990. You've seen some great players. You probably played with some great players, you know, coming through, however briefly, unfortunately, it was with the Braves. Yeah. You know, how about, we'd like to do a little speed round kind of thing with you here with some questions. Favorite all-time player? I know you grew up a Yankees fan, but favorite all-time player?
Don Mattingly.
Why?
Just, you know, I grew up in upstate New York in a small town with one stoplight, and, you know, we were still close enough where we could drive down to the city and take in a game. I just loved the way he competed. You know, I was a left-hand, of course, I was a switch hitter, but from the left-handed side, you know, he reminded me a lot of myself. He had tremendous power for a little guy. Now, that didn't remind me of myself, but I just love the way that, he went about his business. It was his demeanor, his leadership. You know, he was captain of the Yankees, and, you know, when you're the captain of the New York Yankees, like Jeter's, you know, a close second, you know, one of my all-time favorite players for the same reason. And, yeah, so
okay,
Don Mattingly.
I want to throw this one at him, Jeff.
I'm sorry.
Best minor league player that you saw that didn't make the majors?
Wow. Hector Roa.
Okay.
Hector Roa. You don't know him because he didn't make it.
Never heard of him.
He was the shortstop in the Braves system when I got in there from the Dominican, and had all the tools in the world. The guy can just flat out play, and ended up getting into some trouble off the field and cut his career short. So of course you never heard of Hector Roa, but he's probably the best guy that I played with that never made it to the big leagues.
How good, since you get into the Brave system or up to the major leagues, how tough is it at that level? And who was directly ahead of you that was keeping you from your major league path?
It's extremely difficult. It's nothing like college baseball. My fondest memories are truly of college baseball because of the team element. When you get into minor league baseball, Reese will tell you, I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog world. You know, yeah, you're on a team and you're trying to win, but everybody's trying to advance, and it's ultra competitive. I mean, there's one major league shortstop in your organization. And, you know, when I was playing in the Brave system, we had 3 rookie ball teams. We had 3 A ball teams, 1 AA, 1 AAA. So you got all those shortstops, and then every year they're drafting the best of the best in the country, you know, that are shortstops and pitchers. And, you know, you're trying to compete against those guys. So, you know, I felt blessed to get an opportunity. You know, Chipper was a first-round pick of the Braves that year, and of course, everybody knows all about him. And we actually didn't get to play together. He was in Florida, I was in Pulaski, Virginia, but we were both at the same level of rookie ball. Mine was considered higher level rookie ball only because we had more guys.
You started at a higher level than Chipper Jones. Well, there's something.
I was a senior out of college. He was a senior out of high school. So I think that, you know, the lower level rookie ball team at that time was in Florida. And, you know, West Palm Beach was where we had spring training at the time. And there was a lot more development going on. And, you know, Chipper was a tremendous talent. And, you know, then we had Tony Graffinino. You know, Tony played in the big leagues for the Braves at second base for a while, then the White Sox. I think he had a 12-year major league career. He was literally with me in Pulaski. You know, you had Mike Mordecai, who played in the big leagues for many years. He was in AA above me. Of course, Hector Roa, who I just talked to you about, was with us. I mean, it was a loaded organization, and if you think about
what you're saying is it took Chipper Jones level talent to beat you out. That's what you're saying. You were that good.
I'm not saying that at all. You know, I will tell you this: like the type of player that I was really kind of being phased out. You know, a scrap-hitting shortstop who could run, didn't have a lot of pop, you know, could hit some home runs, but really just going to be, you know, I could bunt, I could hit doubles, occasional home runs, hit from both sides of the plate. But you know, I was 5'10", 165 pounds. You know, if you think about the early 90s, what were the shortstops? You know, you had Cal Ripken, you had Rodriguez, they were going to this taller, more like power hitting type shortstops, Chipper Jones, you know, guys of that type of build. And I'm not putting myself in the category of Ozzie Smith, but if you take the Ozzie Smiths of the world, the smaller guys that really played more defense focused guys, the Lemkes of the world, you know, they were really kind of on the being phased out, that model of middle infielder. So not making any excuses. I mean, I gave it my best shot. It's a great memory. And, you know, I'd do it all again in a heartbeat if I had a chance.
Well, Coach, I know that you're being known around this area more for, you know, high school and stuff. This might be a tough one also. What's the best high school player you've ever seen coaching?
That I've ever seen coaching?
Yeah, like, you know, during your high school coaching career, what's the best high school player you've ever seen?
Josh Hamilton.
Okay.
Josh. So when Josh was in trouble with Major League Baseball and kicked out of the first time, he went to coaching. And in the summer, he was helping with the American Legion team. This is when I was in North Carolina, and I was coaching American Legion baseball. And Josh Hamilton literally was helping with the team near Athens Drive, which is Raleigh, where he grew up. And they came down to play us. And, you know, there was Josh, you know, coaching for the other team. So we got to talk to him at length and that kind of thing. But, you know, he went on dad, that's the guy that comes to mind as the best high school coach that I've seen, or at the high school level, who is a major league. Trot Nixon would be a second.
Well, Coach,
with the Boston
so
Red Sox.
as we wrap the show here, you guys, do you have any summer plans with your baseball team, or is it just kind of a, fluid situation for you guys right now?
I sent him a message this morning on GroupMe. We have a parent GroupMe for all my players and a player GroupMe for all my players, just letting them know that, we're going to do a senior night. We're going to have a banquet. We're going to have a summer team. As soon as all of that is safely allowed, we're on it. I told him, we're on it. I told him, I don't care if it's in the fall that we have to have our banquet and our senior night. It doesn't matter to me. Those guys deserve that. And, we're going to do it for them. And it actually, gets me kind of emotional thinking about it, because they've worked so hard. And, we say that all the time, right? That's coach speak. We work hard. But like these guys truly, and, I'm talking hour and a half weight room every day through the fall, speed training, 4-on-1 training from August all the way on, summer ball last summer together, playing in 5-6 tournaments, as a team, and then coming into the spring, everything that we do, we pretty much stay within the rules, but we get after it unbelievably hard. And then we're 15 games in, and everything's ripped out from under them. And it's some of these guys have are college prospects, and they haven't yet committed, and they're not going to get the chance to show what they can do. And very interesting, though, I think Florida is actually considering, I know this is not what you asked, but something to think about and keep up with. Florida is considering letting people repeat this grade if they so choose. So the seniors could probably come back, and they couldn't play a fall sport or a winter sport. Now, I'm not saying that this is in legislation yet, but there's talk about letting the seniors that want to come back, which I get, right? Because we're only a little bit we're not even halfway through the spring. And if your son or a daughter is an academic, person, even if they're not, they need to get this knowledge base to go on to college, and they're really not going to get it in a lot of cases. So the parents can opt to possibly keep their kids back and take college classes, whatever, like we have now, dual enrollment, you can do that. And then they can't play fall sports or winter sports, so they couldn't repeat football or basketball, but in the spring that they could play baseball again. That's in the talk. I would love to see Georgia do the same thing. I would love for people to even hear this and actually start throwing it out there to more governing bodies and people that have influence, because it's such a logjam, like we talked about. It's really not fair. And I know life's not fair, right? But I mean, it's one thing to have your normal not fair, and then it's another thing to just have like this insurmountable thing that you're almost against. And that's pretty much what a lot of our seniors are going through. So summer ball, your question for summer ball is, I haven't like set up a tournament schedule or anything, because it's too early for that. It'd be a waste of time until we know exactly what we can do and when we can do it safely. So, but we are certainly, we just got word, today with you guys up there, sometimes feels like another state, North Georgia. But we all got the word that the high school season is done, nail in the coffin over yesterday. So we're all trying to come to grips with that. And, my players are they're distraught. They're literally like depressed. It's really kind of, it's just crazy is what it is. And so, so summer's going to go if we'll be allowed to go. And, we may have to go into July, which we normally don't like to do, because football, we respect football and basketball. We all, even at North Hall, and I know Trevor does the same thing, we're not trying to step on each other's toes. So July is football month. That's, we basically stop everything that we're doing for baseball in July. But maybe this year, we have to possibly make an adjustment. I don't know. But hopefully we can all get back on the fields, and more importantly, this virus can somehow be snuffed out, and we can save lives, because that's really the most important.
Well, Coach, thank you for taking time out of your day today to catch up with us and to give us some great insight on high school and recruiting and Major League Baseball.
My pleasure, guys. I miss you guys up there, and you guys
do
be
the
safe.
same.
You too.
Coach Trent Mongero on with us today here on Access Sports Live. Check us out on Twitter at WDUN Sports and also at AccessWDUN.com.